Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another discussion video. It's not going to be too long, but it's just something I've been pondering in the days leading up to Matt Reeves' Batman movie. But I did see, I already did like a spoiler review on the video, which is, on the movie, which is up on the channel right now. If you want to see my in-depth spoiler review of the film, check it out and let me know what you thought. But it might be a little bit, some spoiler here and there with Matt Reeves' Batman stuff, specifically regarding the Riddler. But nothing that you probably will not already know, so not too much. But just in case, it might be a little blurbs here and there of some spoiler stuff. But anyway, what I want to talk about is just that something that has always been bugging me, but I did not, find like the right time or tone or just like how to like, set up a discussion about this. But, for a while now, because it's been happening for, probably like since maybe phase 2 or so into the MCU up until this point. It's not even just with Marvel, but with like DC as well. That's why I got the thumbnail up as set up as the way it is. It's just that this weird entanglement. I call it an entanglement because like the whole Will Smith thing is, that would be like a cool way of describing this. This is weird entanglement between Hollywood studios and the comic book industry, and how that when the Matt Reeves Batman movie, I'm telling people, I bet you, because they do this all the time, and in a way I get it, but it's just kind of tiring. It's the fact that this time, by next month, or maybe the next couple of months, you're going to see from DC, if you read a lot of comics, this time by next month or two, you will see a plethora of, all of a sudden, a bunch of Riddler stories coming out the yang because Matt Reeves' Batman has, the Riddler front and center. And how good he is, and he's the talk of the town, and everybody got to capitalize off of it. And it's like, if he wasn't wasting so much time in the past handful of years, arguably since the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, which is another example, you'll bog down, everything with just this particular character. And it's like, you always been writing, they always been writing Joker stuff a handful of times. But if it arguably around the time, not even just after the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, it's just even leading up to the movie and long after the movie, you just getting like handed down like a bunch of Joker stuff. 3 Jokers, War Jokes and Riddles, what else? It's like the Joker War. And like even like with the supposed DC Comics event, Dark Knight's Metal, which has a different universe Batman called like the Batman Who Laughs. And it's like, in a way, it's still Joker. And it's like, it's just like, and you see like Joker dragons in that event. And it's like, you're just like, I think that's probably really kind of like really piqued my mind. It's like, you're really going hard with Joker lately. And it's like, and just it's like if nobody cared. And like, if you've been reading comics, I bet you, aside from like the War of Jokes and Riddles, even though I make I kind of figure that's like a combo between Joker and Riddler. It's not a solo Joker thing, but it's just like aside from that, you barely got any kind of like a solid Joker stuff. And you're not even just with the Joker stuff, Riddler stuff. It's not even just with that. It's just that, where was all this fervor or a love or like this need to write some Joker, some Riddler stuff in the first place? You got great writers on there. You got like Tom King or like Dan DiDio. I think he's a writer for DC. It's like you got like all these like prominent DC writers, and it's like, of course they doing their own thing, but it's like when the top brass all of a sudden want to like, Joker's is talking to town. I want some Joker stuff. That's what the people want. Like, no. At least, not so much of it. It's like, as I talked about this a little bit in my the Batman spoiler review. It's like Joker was like ice cream. He's a nice treat every once in a while. And when you have it, it's like a nice moment because you feel like, it's been ages since you had ice cream. And it tastes so good. And you're savoring it. But if you have ice cream every day, you're not going to enjoy it as much because it's like, ice cream again? It's that kind of feeling. Sometimes you want a salad. Sometimes you want a hot dog. Sometimes you want a burger. Sometimes you want tacos, pizza. Sometimes you want just soul food or Korean dishes or sushi. It's like you can't have a particular thing every day, or otherwise you get sick of it. And then eventually grow to hate it. And it's like I got so tired. It's like after the I don't know if it was the Joker War or 3 Jokers comic book event, but after that, I'm pretty sure it was 3 Jokers. After that, I was like, I would tell people, you know what? I think DC needs to leave Joker alone for at least a few years, if not 5, because maybe 5 will be a little bit much for them. But it's like you gotta give some, give Joker a break. You have to give Joker a break. Okay? He's not the only Batman villain in the fucking world. It's like, you got all these awesome villains, and it's like, you got all these writers, and it's like, if you can send like a mandate down to talk about like, we need more Joker stuff, why don't you like, you know what? If I was like head of DC, I was like, you know what? And it doesn't have to be like, you can have like last year we didn't have like, aside from maybe like the Snyderverse, Snyder Cut Justice League thing. Aside from that, it's like, we ain't have no, we don't got no Batman movie around here, so we can like afford to like, you know what? I want a good Firefly movie. I mean, a storyline. Tom King, give me a good Firefly event with Batman, and give Firefly some love. Has nothing to do with any other villain but Firefly. And he's an arsonist. You can do a lot with that. Or Counterman. He's like a Zodiac killer type of dude, killing people on holidays. We already, there wasn't a recent Scarecrow thing. It was all right, but it was probably like the mainline comics. It wasn't like a 6-issue kind of like Elseworlds kind of thingy, but at least that was something. But it's like, Poison Ivy, especially after like the Harley Quinn TV show, you would think there'll be like a mandate down. It's like, you know what? The Harley Quinn TV show's been doing so well, and like, and she had a thing with Harley and everything like that. She's been like up there. Why don't we give like a solid Poison Ivy story? That has nothing to do with Harley Quinn. We're not going to use her as a crush either. A solid Poison Ivy story. But no, it's like they only seem like they care about these characters because like a movie or TV show is coming out, and that's why I figured it's like a weird entanglement between Hollywood and the comic book industry. It's like when Riddles coming out in the movie next couple of months, I guarantee you there's gonna be like half of the DC writers gonna be like chucking out like Riddler out the yin, and half of them probably not gonna be all that good because it's like you're forcing a hand and doing something that they probably don't want to do or have like the time or like to put in any like real effort into, like, because they complain about how like, oh, making Riddles is too complicated or he's too smart of a character, you can't write anything good with him. No, you don't have the time to pull all that together yourself. If you have the space in the breathing room, it's like, hey, I'll tell somebody like, hey, I want you to give me a good Riddler story. It has nothing to do with like any kind of TV show or movie or anything like that. I just feel like it's about time we get like some good Riddler stuff going on. So within you have at least the next couple of months to try to come up with a good Riddler story for like a 6. It doesn't have to be a long kind of drawn out thing, but just like a 5 to 6 issue story arc dealing with the Riddler. And you'll have a nice time to try to come up with some solid riddles. Like if like a video game or even like the Batman anime series who have like, well, I think to be frank, like I think the TV show have like, like a more of like a fixed time frame to come with like a 30-minute episode dealing with like the Riddler, and they can manage to pull it off just fine. With it doesn't have to be overly complicated riddles. It can easily be like riddles with puns, like what is high as an elephant's eye, a maze, or like it's corn, and what's another word for corn? Maze, and Mockery is in the maze, and it's like that's not overly complicated. You don't have to be like that overly complicated about it, and just like with the video games, half the riddles can be just trying to figure out death traps to get people out of those death traps. That is easily done. I just don't care for like this thought process that the comic book industry is having, because like the Black Widow movie, when that came out, Taskmaster was front and center as a villain. Then all of a sudden Marvel is chucking out this like around that time this 5 to 6 issue run with Taskmaster, and it's like Taskmaster is like an effective assassin and a villain, usually fighting like Deadpool or Captain America or any like a hero that's association with Shield or anything like that, or even the Punisher. It's like sometimes he's played like a goofball, but it's like he's not a goofball. He's snarky. That's a difference. He's a snarky, competent assassin that's hired to train other villains' henchmen to make them effective. And it's like Kraven the Hunter movie is gonna be coming out within like a year or so, and then all of a sudden, I bet you Marvel's gonna be like, because right now it's like the current Kraven the Hunter is like his son thing. It's a whole thing. You don't need to be like, just is his son, but it's like the real Kraven is dead, and it's kind of like a mantle now, but whatever. But it's just like all of a sudden you're gonna be like again like pushed on with a bunch of Kraven stuff, and like with the Morbius movie coming out, well, it's supposed to have came out in January, but like all late last year, there's been like a short issue run with like Morbius, a Morbius comic, and it's like Morbius #1 kind of situation. It's like, okay, these guys, has been around for a long time, and I know they're not like on the same level as like Green Goblin or Joker or Bane or anything like that, but all you have to do is Google, or you're a comic book industry, you should know all these people, at least get 10 of them. It's like right now, if I was requested to make a good like Batman story, even though I think like we kind of got our feel with a lot of Batman stuff and gotta give the other characters some love too, but it's like even with super, it's not even just with villains. It's like just characters in general. It's like I can easily make a Booster Gold. Let's just use Booster Gold as like an example. I can give like a good Booster Gold short issue comic book storyline, and since he's a time traveler, we can, either like a Back to the Future kind of situation, or just utilize any number of like time travel kind of shenanigans and implement that in Booster Gold. And he's like just a fun character. He's like fun like Star-Lord level kind of fun, but with time travel. And it's like, it's like, is it that hard? I mean, I imagine it's hard to some level because not everybody can just do this. But it's like, people right out the gate want to come like, oh, I got a Batman story, and he's doing with the Joker. Oh my God, yeah, Joker, sure. It's like, oh, we gonna do Harley Quinn. I'm like, yeah, Harley Quinn, yeah, it's been done. We already got like 10 people in line doing that right now. But I'm like, okay, Marvel. It's like, okay, we already did like a Green Goblin thing. How about like Maury Bench, the Hydro Man? Do you have anybody on the docket doing anything with Hydro Man right now? I could definitely do something with Hydro Man. Because like I can definitely use like, because there was like an arc with him in the 90s Spider-Man TV show, use that as a blueprint, having him, because I even brought this up as like a supposed Spider-Man movie arc with Maury Bench having this who used to be like a former boyfriend of Mary Jane, and he's like an obsessed boyfriend, like using like Jessica Jones and the Purple Man kind of situation where he's like in a maybe not abusive boyfriend, but like kind of like a overprotective, very on a very Kanye level kind of obsessed boyfriend where he controlling. The fact that they broke it up because he was so controlling and like super jealous, which literally like, oh, I got away from Mary Jenkins say like, oh, I got away from him because he once like beat up a waiter who was just taking my order, and he assumed that he was asking for my number, and he's like brutally beat this dude, and he constantly getting landed in jail for aggravated assault kind of thing. And I had to get away from him because he was saying all these red flags, and he's like was stalking me and blah blah blah, and that kind of thing. Now that he got hydro powers, he can literally be anywhere, kind of reminiscent to like the Invisible Man movie in 2020, where it's like you don't know where he is because he's literally water, so he can pop up anywhere he wants to and spy on you and give like Mary Jane like hydrophobia, because now this dude who got like water powers can travel anywhere in the city, New York City, who got surrounded by water, and it's like now Spider-Man has to deal with him, and it's like it doesn't even have to be anything with Spider-Man, because like there's a lot of times when Spider-Man story arcs, it's like gotta deal with a villain that's connected to Peter Parker or Spider-Man in some kind of way. But no, this time we dealing with a villain who's got association with Mary Jane, and she's front and center. And Spider-Man, it says not play the back seat, but it's like he has to figure out how to stop this guy who can literally be water, and it's like his webs not gonna do dilly squat to contain him, because like water can easily just leak out through any kind of crevice through the bindings of the web, and it's like now you gotta figure out a way to make up webs that solidify to contain them like a container, and like and put them in like Ravencroft Institute, which is like Arkham Asylum for Marvel, who deals with a lot of these crazy superpowered villains with powers. And it's like And there's no Hydra Man movie in Sony that's working on at all, or there's no movie with Spider-Man who's dealing with the Hydra Man at all. I can be like the first one actually making a solid story with a villain that has no movie association. And like with Booster Gold, there's no movie in circulation right now that's dealing with Booster Gold whatsoever. So I can actually make a solid story and not be bogged down by timing constraints or whatever. I can easily probably take my time with this. And it's like, what's with, the comic book industry with like that? It's like, I want to say they not doing that, but it's like, it seems like, I think like it's more so some aspect the reader's responsibility too, to make it know what kind of stories we want. But it's like, how can we do that? It's not like DC or Marvel is putting like a poll or something. It's like, or at least putting feelers out to the populace, saying like, what kind of like story you want, like because they already been doing like a Static Shock thing after like the Mrs. McDuffie is like giving like the go ahead finally with that after she settled her thing with Milestone and DC. But it's like there's some good solid Static Shock stuff coming out recently. So and has nothing to do with any Static Shock movie that Michael B. Jordan's supposed to be doing, because that's still quite a bit away. That's solid. That's a good thing. And that way they're not bogged down with any kind of specifications. But it's just my little issue with like what's going on with the comic book industry. It's just like, it's not like you have like a little bit of a roster to work with. I mean, come on. It's like there's nobody who wants to do like a question. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was like a couple of years ago a short issue, the question, detective noir kind of thing that was going on. I don't know how many people was reading that, but that's what I say is like some responsibility does fall in part to the reader. If hardly anybody's buying like the question comics or Gwenpool comics, they're not going to continue writing those things. But they also have to make sure they don't stop trying, just because some people are not like, or at least they're not advertising as well, because they don't advertise events like they used to. Because I love Gwenpool. I was reading Gwenpool, and it's like, it's a shame they canceled her, because like she was amazing. I love Gwenpool. I got like Gwenpool pop figure. And I'm pretty sure I got like a poster of Gwenpool too. It's like, I love that character, and had no relations to Wade Wilson whatsoever. And like she teamed up with him like a couple of times, but it's like, and there's no kind of, and even they make a break in the fourth wall saying like, no, we're just buddies. There's no shipping here. And they do this like gangster pose and like they fist bump or something like that. It was really, really fun. But it's like, Squirrel Girl. I know every once in a while they do a Squirrel Girl thing, but it's like, announce we have a Squirrel Girl short issue run being made right now. Look forward to that. And it's not like they don't market it, but it's just like not like the energy they put out for it. And like it's like a half-assed their marketing sometimes. It's like, I have like a solid Squirrel Girl stuff. Put it on all the social media platforms. I know they got young people working for them. That handles these kind of social media stuff. Make sure they put out the word like, we got a Squirrel Girl story lined up for you guys. There's no TV show or movie out, so we're actually doing this because we actually want to do this. And that's what I want to. That's why I want to see. I want to see people who want to make these comics, not because it's like tied to any kind of potential media outlet. It's because they have some writers who actually have some ideas for these characters. Okay, I want to make sure like if they want to make like a like a Scorpion, a Marvel Scorpion comic, they doing it because they have some ideas for a Scorpion versus Spider-Man kind of thing going on, and not because there's a movie with him in it. That's my feel and my how I feel about it. It's just annoying. It's all it is, and it's like, and I love the Riddler. I just don't want half-ass writing in the next couple of months because a movie was coming out and they're just forced to make something with half-ass riddles and like blasé arts. I want them to actually do it because they're actually some good stories to have with the Riddler. And same thing like Black Adam. They recently, not fairly recently, put Black Adam into the Justice League into the Justice League membership in the comics because we gotta make sure, because he wasn't like a villain. He's always been like an anti-hero kind of situation. Black Adam, he's kind of like Dr. Doom, where he's like you can picture like Black Adam back in the day was like Dr. Doom. He, for the most part, he's been like a bad guy, but he also been like an anti-hero because like he steps up when something's not only threatening conduct. He has his own kingdom to look after in Egypt. But if something is threatening the world, he will take it upon himself to try to stop it, and like he not worry about associating himself within the other parts of the world's heroes. And that's always been Black Adam. But now it's like, oh, he's part of the because The Rock is playing him, and we can't have readers assuming like, oh, The Rock is like automatically like a bad guy, even though he kind of roasted a man alive in the trailer. But it's like, we gotta put him on like the Justice League because it's like he's The Rock now, and it's like we gotta make sure he's like, looks a particular way, and it's like, my God, what is everybody thinking back there? But it's like, it's perfectly fine to in the comics. He doesn't have to be like a full blown on like heroes roster. He is like the Dr. Doom for DC. He's like, he got his own kingdom to run, handling his own way, and every once in a while he might help out a hero, here and there when it comes to like a mega level threat. But by and large, he resigned to himself and he deals with things the way he sees fit, and is brutal and is arguably evil. But it's like, I'm pretty sure at some point they're going to get back to like his roots, because I doubt he's going to remain on the Justice League roster in the comics, because I think personally that's dumb. He is not a Justice League member. It's like, I get it, because I read the few issues involving that situation, and it's like Superman's vouching for him. He's like, he actually is a good person deep down. We gotta stop treating him like a bad guy. We gotta extend an olive branch and blah blah blah. I get it, but it's like, I don't know. It's like he's only doing it because The Rock is playing him, and it's like you're making this sudden shift into his tone. You didn't have to include him onto the Avengers, the DC roster. It'd be kind of like Captain America vouching for Dr. Doom and bringing him on to the Avengers roster. It make no sense to do that. You don't need to do that ever. It'll have him be his own thing. I mean, not in like a bubble or anything like that, but it's like, you don't need to recruit him to be the Justice League member. You can just be like somewhere you can go to every once in a while if you need extra magic or muscle that you can count on if something gets too dire, kind of situation. But that's how I feel. I mean, like, I'm not going to harp on it too long, but it's just like, I just wish they the comic book industry not just make, bring into light certain characters just because a movie is out. It's like, yeah, since the 40s up until now, like a bunch of characters that has been made that, you can actually, not go to the tried and true thing just to make sure you get your money's worth kind of situation. Give it a chance. It's like I respect people more when they make like The Question or Gwenpool comics, even though they didn't stay long and they had to get canceled. I applaud the effort because like you gave something a shot, and there's no Question TV show or movie out. There's no Gwenpool movie or TV show out. You did it because you actually had something to say, even though it didn't pay out in dividends. Like I said, I applaud the effort. And I don't think there were bad stories. I do encourage you guys to check those out because they, in the past, I don't know what their particular names of those like arcs or whatever like that. But just if you go on Comixology or like whatever, it's just like find like The Question or Gwenpool comics that was made in the past 2 to 4 years. Because they were pretty good. The art was pretty good. It's like and that's another thing. It's like I don't know how many people buy comic books anymore when they can go online and read them, and whenever they come available. Because that's what I usually do. Even though every once in a while I want to buy myself a comic because I love the story so much, I want to have like a hard copy, like the Doctor Strange 2 volumes of Way of the Weird and the Last Days of Magic arcs, which was my first comic book review I did for the channel. So you can check that out and my thoughts on that storyline, because it's one of my favorite Doctor Strange stories, and I read it like at least a few times since it came out way back in like I don't know, it was like 2016, 2017. But it was really good. The art, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of art. I forgot what the artist's name was, but he's been on other stuff every once in a while. I know who, as soon as I see that art, I know where it was coming from. And it's like, I do not care for them. Certain characters look like Neanderthals with like heavy brow kind of situation. Is kind of like distracting to me, and it's like I don't really care for it. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think. Am I being too picky or like just overthinking it a bit, or do you share my objections to this? Because like, and I won't say objections, but do you share my concerns with how things are handled with like certain characters just being doled out in comic books because like a movie is out and not because you actually got a story to tell. I'm not saying you don't have a story to tell, because like, Morbius coming out, so I have a good Morbius story and you actually do got a good one. I will acknowledge that, but it's just like, it's also being like, smothered in other shit that's not as good talking about the same thing. But anyway, I will see you guys in a little bit for ironically, a comic book review, but it's going to be a short one, Elseworlds Batman story, in honor of the Batman movie coming out this week. So look forward to that. And I also think I need to start doing like a tier list for all the Batman movies that I enjoy, because I don't think I did like a tier list for Batman. So I should do one. So anyway, I will see you guys in a little bit. Peace.